If there is one subject that I've talked about, probably more than any other on this channel, it would be toxicity within the community. One of my biggest videos, one of my first videos to break 5,000 views, was actually a video talking about how it's so weird to me how the community is so enamored with trying to ruin other people's fun. It was basically a breakdown about how people tend to enter matches with this very odd goal of just ruining the other side's time. And I tried to make it very clear that I wasn't talking about things like, bringing powerful builds or trying to win or anything like that, but I was more talking about stuff like flip flop boil over to the top ropes of fucking Eerie of Cox or Ormond or something like that before they put the hook in Ormond, which I'm so glad they did, to where like it'd make people literally unhookable, or teabagging after every pallet stun and then, BMing and things like that, or killer players 4-man bleeding out everybody at 5 gens or hitting someone on hook over and over again. Like the going in with like the intention to piss someone off is so weird to me. And over the time that I've played this game, I've talked about several different types of toxicity. I even did an entire 20-minute video dedicated to the addiction to toxicity that the community seems to have. But when I was talking to my friend Brand the other day, I thought to myself, is it possible that toxicity could be healthy? If you've been missing streams and want to see live gameplay, then go ahead and check out my YouTube channel, The Kaiser VODs, where I upload every game that I play in multi-hour compilations. We also have a collection of short compilations of clips from stream. We'll see you over there. Link is in the description. First thing I want to clear up is what is and isn't toxic. Now, I ended up asking you guys this very question on my community post, and I got a lot of responses, and I'm not able to go through all of them for this video, but basically the way I want to talk about everything is to set this up. Toxicity can be easily defined by whether or not the thing you're doing is just for the intention to win the game. If that makes sense, right? Like, for example, if a killer is tunneling you out, or a survivor is, flashlight blinding you whenever you get stunned by a pallet, or something like that, then that is not toxicity, because both of these things are in the effort of winning. The reason something like the flip-flop boil over or 4-man bleeding out are considered toxicity is because while they might both be quote-unquote in the effort of winning, they're not viable strategies to win. They're done with the intents and purposes of making the other side upset. But as I thought more and more about this subject, I started trying to think to myself, well, it's not like toxicity can be all bad. I know that's kind of counterproductive, because toxicity by its inherent nature is something that in a lot of people's minds is just inherently negative. But then we have things like toxic positivity, which is positivity to the point of being harmful. So maybe I am doing an oxymoron, but it's the only way that I can put it. I think personally that things like trash talk and minor BM is actually incredibly healthy for the game. Hear me out. Stuff like trash talk is something that has happened in competitive gaming for before there was even video games, right? Everything from sports to playing cards with your family at the house, right? You somebody's Uno and you drop a +4 draw on them and they draw 4 of them and you're like, haha, bitch, gotcha. That's trash talk, right? Stuff like if a killer was like face camping you and you guys got a 4-man out, and at the end of it, you're like, haha, nice try. That's trash talk. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. And every time I bring up trash talk, I have one commenter who is like vehemently against it because they think trash talk in all its forms is just terrible. But no. They tried to bring up machismo in one of the comments, and it was just like, I don't really know where they got that from. I know that there's like this, there's the stereotype where men are like inherently more trash talky than women, and that's how they show affection and everything. But like, have you ever heard women who are best friends? They're fucking savages. They're actually savages. I don't know what you got machismo from, but the thing is that trash talk is fine as long as it follows three criteria. Number one, it does not leave the game and become personal. As long as you are doing things like, haha, got you, bitch, or if someone makes a mistake, you're like, dumbass, and you move on with your life, then that's fine. As soon as it goes into personal territory, as soon as you are making fun of that person's appearance, or you're trying to insult things like their stream numbers or their even their choice of killer, which is always fucking weird. That's when you start making things personal. You start taking it into the realm of attacking them outside of a little haha silly poke fun. That is bad. If it is bigoted of any kind, if you start using slurs, you start being transphobic, fatphobic, whatever the case may be, and then finally, when it enters the territory of way too fucking far in terms of like, you know, if you're like, ha, bitch, got you, that's fine. But if you're like, you should kill yourself, uninstall the game, you useless fuck, right? Like when you start getting into that territory, that's when trash talk isn't fun. And I think that a lot of people just completely and utterly disregard how trash talking is acceptable in competitive play. Like I remember when there was this esports drama in one of the circles a long time ago where this esports person called somebody else the F slur. And people were like, it's just trash talk. No, that's bigotry, right? That's bigotry. That's not trash talk. Trash talk would have been, got you, trash, right? That's trash talk. That's fine. And that's something that's just inherent to competitiveness. And I just don't believe anybody when they say that they never trash talk ever in competitive games. You're telling me you never, ever, ever do something like laugh whenever you get somebody or catch them out, right? As far as BM goes, I think that a little bit of BM is fine. I used to get so mad when survivors would teabag me, because at the end of the day, it is the equivalent of flipping someone off. I hate having to have this conversation, but we're going to call a spade a spade. Let's not pretend like your actions in video games do not represent real life actions in the real world. Let's fucking stop that shit. I hate people who try to disconnect actions in video games as if they don't have inherent meaning, because it's ridiculous. We know what teabagging means, right? But I mean, teabagging towards your fellow survivors is like a thank you or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like if you stun the killer and you teabag them, you're flipping them off because you got the stun. But I think that that's fine, because I think that falls into the realm of trash talk. It is, haha, I won, I beat you at this pallet, right? But then I do want to also talk about the fact that if you BM and then the killer BM's back, you don't get to say shit. You know what I mean? Like like I play a lot of Billy. People know this. If you pallet stun me and you teabag and then I curve you and I do the nodders and do a little one tap on the hook, we're BMing back and forth. I'm not actually mad. I'm not BMing back because I'm upset or pissed off. I'm doing it because that's part of the fun. That's part of the tossing back and forth. But I think that the most important part about things like trash talk and a bit of BM and what I would consider healthy toxicity, the reason that I think it's healthy is because it is part of the inherent fun of playing PvP games. Part of the inherent fun is celebrating your victories and trash talking the other people. And as long as it's all in good fun and no one takes it personally, then I think it's all fine. And a big part of that is compartmentalization. People tend to overtake things like BM. And they tend to also overshoot things like trash talk. So like a big example of this is, let's say you're playing against a streamer and you all, you know, you lose or whatever the case may be. Maybe you win, whatever. You go into the streamer's chat to type GGs, and you find out by watching the VOD back that during that one point where you all like he got 3 flashlights on him and it calls him drop the survivor and he goes, God damn it, you fucking bitches. If you take that and you're like, oh, he called me a fucking bitch. What a toxic streamer. Oh my God. And you clip it and you go posting it out into the fucking world. That's just fucking weird to me. That's just, that is a lack of compartmentalization. You don't know how to take what is being said in a game and keep it in that game. And this is a similar thing that happens in like in-game chats. Like everybody knows, I'm a very big proponent of just typing GGs and going next. No matter what happens, no matter how toxic things get, no matter how shitty the other people played or treated you, just typing GGs and go next. Sometimes people trash talk in the in-game chat. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying the reason I always say it's better to just type GGs and go next is because it can start fights where it shouldn't. I'm not going to mention the streamer or when it happened, but I was watching this streamer and somebody did a passive-aggressive trash talk remark to the streamer. The streamer was the killer. There were survivors. So the streamer clapped back on them and was like, dude, what? You brought a map offering. You can't fucking make fun of me for playing, you know, a certain way. And then the rest of the survivors lost their fucking minds and started going, oh, we weren't toxic. Like, why are you being an asshole back to it? Right? And then they took it a step further and went into the streamer's chat to continue the argument after the streamer had already left the in-game chat and was getting ready to boot up for the next match. That is an example of not being able to compartmentalize what happens. And it's also an example of how trash talk can be unhealthy. And that's why I don't recommend that you do it. Because as soon as someone trash talks back, then all of a sudden someone else gets offended, even though if they started it, then it becomes a problem. Whereas that it wouldn't be if you just said GG's and move on. Trash talking within the game is fine because most of the time no one else can hear you. And to be honest, in the heat of the moment, it's understandable. You know what I mean? Like, it's understandable to get frustrated in the heat of the moment. It's understandable to celebrate in the heat of the moment. But once that in-game screen comes up, you just got to be really careful. And the compartmentalization of people not being able to separate what happens in the game from real life is what causes a lot of the problems that people end up not liking trash talk of any kind or BM of any kind or something like that. And so I just think it's incredibly important that people understand how this all works out. In conclusion, I think that toxicity can be healthy because it can be part of the fun, but it has to be the right type of toxicity, and you need to know where the line is. Too many people like to overstep the line, and that's why a lot of people do not believe toxicity can be healthy in any form. Just like with the example that I was talking about a little bit ago, where people take the trash talk too far. They take everything outside the game. They can't handle what they dish out. And then that's when things start hitting the fan a little bit too difficult. But as always, I don't just make these videos to spout my opinion at you. I make these videos so I can hear what you think. So please let me know with your comments down below. And as always, a great big special thank you to our channel members listed on screen now for their additional support. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do full time. So thank you guys so much. If you want to find out how to become a channel member today and get great perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. Love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.